Hello, I'm Lisa Arana and I appreciate you joining me for another Assemble This video. It's all about creating multiple cards today with different looks. It's one of my favorite ways to get the most bang for my buck on crafty time. With some simple techniques, I'll show you how these beautiful cards were made, each one just a little bit different, but I'm using all the same supplies. This set of cards features the December 2022 Unity Stamp Company sentiment kit called Shake Your Flakes. Just love the amazing and grungy snowflake image, and there are really so many sentiments to choose from. I've gathered some pattern paper and started stamping already. I have some die cut panels from craft cardstock, and the first two I just stamped that snowflake image 3 times. This one I stamped it 2 times, and then the last one I just stamped it right in the center. The pattern papers I have are actually digital papers, and I printed them on both white and craft cardstock, so it just matches the look that I was going for. You can always just grab your favorite papers that you really love to replace the ones that I've used. This is a combo of navy, black, and craft, which is a different color combo for me. And then I cut them all up and just started ink blending around every single piece. I really like that grungy look. It makes it kind of pop when you have a vignette of ink blending around each piece. Plus, it kind of makes them a little bit more cohesive. I won't bore you with all the ink blending, but I did each piece starting off to the side and then slowly bringing my blending brush down around the edge of each piece of paper. That way I don't get a big splotch of ink when I blend. And here they all look after they were all ink blended. Next, I grabbed some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. This ink is really great for stamping sentiments and also embossing, so that's why I chose it. I'm using the sentiments from the Heart of Christmas sentiment kit. I wasn't sure which words I wanted to use, so I ended up stamping them all out in my MISTI. This has some matching dies, so this is really going to help with stamping on those die cuts. And I ended up just die cutting them all out on some craft cardstock, removed all those and put them to the side. And then I'm going to use the negative piece to do my stamping. So I'm going to pick the word Mary and line up my template so I get an even edge all the way around. And then I'll tack that down with my magnet, make sure it doesn't move, pop in the matching die cut. And I know when I stamp this time, it's going to fit perfectly in that little jig. It's a great way to get perfect stamping on a die cut, especially with rubber stamps. And then I just repeated that process with all the different words. Now I used Nocturne ink because I can emboss with it, and that's what I'll be doing next. Unfortunately, I did stamp these all out and then tried to emboss. I probably should have done each word and make sure I put the embossing powder on it as I went along. It did not get full coverage, but I don't mind because it's kind of interesting how the black ink shows behind the gold embossing powder. It's kind of a cool effect that I'm not mad at. Up next, I grabbed the Colossal Snowflake stamp set that also has a matching die, sticking with that snowflake theme. And this one I did a similar process. It was hard to use the jig, so I ended up just lining up the die cut and then stamped on top and then embossed on that. And I did use some pattern paper just for interest, and I kind of like that as well. Once that was done, cool and dried, I just snipped that in half with my scissors. And then for each panel, I wanted to add a bit of gold shine to it. I reached for the Heart of Christmas stamp set again because they have these amazing little stars that I love. I can put the placement wherever I want them. I love the sizes. It's just a go-to kit that I keep around all year. And then I just stamped those out, added some embossing powder, and now we have a bit of shine to each of our panels. So now that all the prep work is done, let's assemble each of our cards. I'm going to start out with card number 1. Just put a strip of pattern paper over my card front And then I did the stripes on top of that. I'm gonna kind of feature that half of a snowflake behind the panel. So just lining that up. I'm gonna glue this down with some liquid adhesive this time. I wanted to make sure that it had a good solid adhesion to the front of the card. And then I'll line up my panel in front of that and then just kind of trim it off. I grabbed my pencil and just made a quick little mark, grabbed my trimmer, and then trimmed that down. And then I popped that up with some foam adhesive and then added these cute little sayings. It says cozy birthday wishes. Just kind of think it's fun. I have a lot of birthdays in winter, and I don't really have a winter birthday sentiment, so that's why I added that to the kit. Next up, we have another simple layout. I just added the strip of striped paper to the corner. I just thought that was fun. Popped up my panel in the center and then added the cheers sentiment popped up as well. For our third card, I'm using the other half of my embossed snowflake again, going with the same layout. This time I did not add the striped piece because the pattern paper that I used on my card base was fairly busy. Just trimmed or lined that up and trimmed it down. This time the panel has the 2 snowflakes just on the edge. I'm gonna pop that up with some foam adhesive, and then again I threw in a thank you sentiment because I always have thank yous after Christmas time. So this one says joyful thanks. I'm just going to do a little extra ink blending, trim that sentiment down into a banner, and then just pop that up on the card front as well. And then for our last card, again just moving right along, I have some pattern paper die cut into some rectangles, and I'm just going to layer those up on the card front. Lift the edges so they have a little bit of dimension. I only put glue in the center so those sides can lift up a little bit. Glue those down, and then our last panel, I'm just going to pop that up right in the center with foam adhesive. And then I had all these sentiments left, so I used all the words. And here are our finished cards, each one with its own special look, but similar because I used all the same supplies. It would be a great set to give away as a gift, or if you're like me, I don't like having all the same card when I mass produce. I like each of them to have their own little touches so they feel different. And that makes me happy when I create multiple cards at one time. As always, I'll have all the supplies linked in the description of this video on my Dollhouse Designs YouTube channel and blog. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Plus, if you have any questions or sweet comment, post below. Thank you again so much for creating with me today. I just love that you joined me, and I hope you were inspired, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye.